So welcome to this week's Hot Topics, where we're going to be talking about sales and marketing. So, how are you, Andy?
Yeah, top of the world, Phil. Been on holiday, so all ready. And yeah, good. Nice.
Excellent. I'm feeling good as well.
Yeah. You're off
Yeah,
again
but
next week, though, on another
I
holidays,
know,
aren't
I
you? So
know,
it's
I
all
know, I
all
know.
all good. All good.
Yeah, yeah.
Work life balance. That's the
Work-life
key.
balance is all about that. Lots of conversations going around mental and physical well-being, and we're going to be featuring that in the coming weeks and months. What we
No,
wanted to do
certainly.
major on today was just off the back of our first webinar. So if you missed our first free webinar, you can join up and have a look at our EYC Academy and have a look back at something that we recorded with Andy and with Jack Chu, looking at a longer term vision for MSK and the relationship between MSK reform and our own long-term objectives, Andy, for Elevate, which was really a great conversation, and lots of people joining in and listening in on the conversation and getting some good results as a consequence.
No, certainly. And I think Jack definitely explored his long-term vision for the MSK reform. And I think it's, the key of the whole webinar was about talking about putting your vision into practice. It's all right having a vision, but actually delivering on it. And I think he showed some really good points of the ways along he developed MSKR, and how he develops a lot of his ventures, and the one that we're going to be involved in very shortly when we're recording this, which is obviously Therapy Business or Therapy Live Business, which is on the 18th of September. So if you're
excited to be partners in that, and it's looking like we've got a great lineup of speakers. Again, a free event focused purely on therapy business and the business world, and how we develop as clinicians to be better business owners, which is certainly exciting because it plays right into to our field, doesn't it, in terms of our specialism and our interest and our passion.
And very much about why we exist in our, one of the things that we've developed this is to help educate therapy business owners how to do some of the good things better, or some of the things they do, or how they make the transition from being a therapist into a therapy business owner, which, as we talk about a lot, a great therapist doesn't always make a great therapy business owner, very much like a great footballer doesn't always make a great football manager. They're very different skills. And so, helping people in that transition is definitely where we sit and what we're trying to support all those great therapists with.
So today, interestingly, one of the things we did in the webinar was to run a poll to find out what people's biggest business challenges were. And perhaps not unsurprisingly, more than half the audience said sales and marketing. And you and I know from the conversations that we've had over the last couple of years in particular, that sales and marketing seems to be a focus for so many business owners, but often it's not where they really need to be focusing. But we decided we're going to run our webinar 2, which is going to be all about sales and marketing. So Andy, just kick off and let's talk a little bit about some of the pain points, some of the issues that business owners are tending to throw at us when we have these type of conversations.
No, certainly. And I think I'll also add just quickly, for that webinar, we've managed to convince our friends over at Sales Geeks, which is a fantastic organization. If you need to go and check them out, salesgeeks.com. Certainly worth checking them out, what they're doing. And one of theirs, we're hoping for the big boss, Richard, who's a fantastic speaker, and I've actually done some work with him. And so hoping that he'll be our guest presenter, if not one of the top directors of the team will be presented on it. So some really good tips to be going away. Yeah. So Phil, for me, and I've tried to put 3 headings on this, which I think hopefully we'll go through. So there's definitely something around overcoming the fear of selling. And I'll expand on that shortly. The understanding what you sell, which if anyone's ever heard me witter on about this before, I think in the therapy world, it's something which I seem to repeat myself an awful lot, but not many people can answer. So I'll keep repeating it until everyone can answer it. And again, it's the long-term understanding that the more we sell and the more profitable a business is, it isn't always about you becoming richer. Sometimes it can be understanding that with greater profitability or greater cash in an organization, we can then go on to improve our service and improve the value to our customers and patients.
Couldn't agree more.
So
kick off then. So this we see kind of fear. We can see it in people's eyes, can't we?
Yeah.
And we can hear it in their tone. You know, I'm a clinician. I'm not a salesperson. You know, if I wanted to get into sales, I wouldn't have been a clinician. But
I think there's a lot of stigma in the therapy world. And you know, talking open and honestly, it certainly came, I think, from the physio side of therapy, so the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy style of it. And there was a massive stigma that, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if this is still true, but it was certainly encouraged that businesses shouldn't be making profit. The private physiotherapy, but we're almost encouraged not to make profit from. And that was kind of, now I'm sure a listener can highlight me and tell me I'm wrong, but that stigma still seemed to exist. And especially 20 years ago when we were growing in, it was talked an awful lot going, oof, you know, you shouldn't really be making money. It's not really the done thing to do in this kind of organization, you know. So I think the fear and in those that have been around for a while is that it was a stigma that if you were selling or you were making money, that you were almost doing something wrong. Or you didn't, you know, you were being unethical, which is something that we definitely hear a lot. I think the unefficacy to grow on that point is still there. So we see a good therapist and a bad therapist, or a good therapy business and a bad therapy business, based on the fact of, well, how many times do you see a patient to get them better? And let's use the inverted commas, because the word better is something which is a discussion for another day. So, you know, and especially for me, when we were growing our practices and we wanted to really create a really good customer experience from start to finish. You come in with a sore shoulder. What is it you really want to do? And how do you want to do it? You know, well, I want to be able to ride a motorbike round a course at 150 mile an hour.
Funny you should say that.
There might have been a reference to you, Mr. Hadley. Round a track, confident that my shoulders and not going to give me any jip, because right, okay, so that means we need to be strong. That means that we need to be able to do some strength work as well as get rid of the pain. So it was a complete journey. Now, obviously meant that a client, a customer with us was with us for longer than others. And we were frowned upon because we know some in our industry that were getting people better in 3 sessions. And I think my presentation at Therapy Live last year was around, well, can that be classed as unethical? And this is where I will always sit, is there's this fear of how other people will presume and judge us in our businesses based on, you know, are we overselling? And I definitely think it exists in certain areas of therapy, of which we're not going to discussion for another day. But for me, the fear actually creates an underselling culture of where we under-deliver a service, which actually under-delivers long-term outcomes for clients. And that's the bit for me that that I'm looking to kind of change. So
I think the interesting thing, it does make sense, yeah. And I think the interesting thing for me is when I used to think about selling, I would think about door to door, or increasingly, you know, today, that irritating phone call from a call center as a cold call.
Yeah.
As selling, well, of course, that's one end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But at the other end of the spectrum, which I know is where you and I tend to think of in terms of selling, it's actually about the relationship, isn't it? And in which case, I know you talk quite a lot about this in terms of clinical ethics and clinical practice. So, you know, communicating effectively with your client, customer, patient about their journey to recovery is selling at one level. At another level, it's so subtle that you get my buy-in, and actually I'm signing up for this knowing that actually I want to achieve my longer term goal, which I think is kind of comes into your second point here, which is, isn't it, which is understand what it is that you do and what you sell.
100%, Phil. I mean, look, as therapists, And as parents, oh my God, how many listeners are parents, and how many sales pitches do we have to do to our kids and we get sold to as our kids? You know, they're all sales pitches. And as therapists, we're asking somebody in pain that doesn't want to move, do it regularly, and do a really boring exercise that they don't want to do. Okay, because most people in pain just go, right, I want to be fixed. So we have to pitch something to them. I want you to do this really boring exercise. I want you to do it 2 or 3 times a day for 1 or 2 minutes. And it's in some cases, it's actually going to hurt when you're doing it. And it might even hurt a little bit more afterwards. But long term, this is what we need to do to get you to where you want to go. That's a sales pitch. So we've got to do that, haven't we? Yeah. You know, if we understand the physiology and anatomy, right? And I hope most therapists listening understand that that's priority. You can only pitch a good customer journey and a good customer outcome if you actually understand how it all works. So again, it comes back to exactly like you said and highlighted was, you know, for me, what is it that you sell as a therapist? You know, you walk in, my analogy, I always say, you walk into a shop because you need a new pair of jeans. You walk out with a bag with a pair of jeans in. Okay. When a customer comes to you in our world, what are they walking in for and what are they walking out with? And I think it's really understanding what that means. And I know it's something we discuss a lot, you know, and in brief, one of the things for me is, and it links to my the last point is that for me, we're in the customer service industry or the customer experience industry, depending on how you want to do it. And our role and responsibility and what we sell is that experience along that journey to take somebody from where they are now to where they want to go. You know, in our NLP world, Phil, we would use this present state. What's the desired state of where they want to go? And then what resources are we going to then provide along the journey to get them to that desired state?
Absolutely.
And I think that for me is once a therapist gets and understands that, then they realize they're not selling. Actually, what they are doing is a really good job. And actually, they are becoming a great therapist. And for me, then a great therapy business owner puts that process in place within their business. Now, for those of you who don't know, we have a 10-step process, which we're very happy to share our ebook to help you. All of the filmed content is in our EYC Academy. More content coming this month around consultation. And so it's really important that you understand what it is that you sell, that you highlight that to the customer so that it's the journey of what they're going to take them on, but also anyone working in your organization, you help them understand that. And that for me makes it really good, efficient. And then you're not selling. You're just telling people the truth and the journey that they're going to go on.
I think that's great. And I think with Sales Geek Gang, I think what we will be doing is looking at that process, but we'll also be looking at some of the skills that underpin effective selling, because what we're not trying to say ultimately is that you're not selling, because there's an element of sales in, as you were talking earlier on about parents and kind of relationships. There's an element in selling in everything that we do. So actually, if you understand some of the basic frameworks and the models that underpin a sales approach, it can help you to deliver your recovery plan in the treatment room more effectively. And as a consequence of that, people get better outcomes, and as an organization, you'll grow a reputation.
Yeah.
Become more successful and improve your bottom line. But the bottom line comes as a consequence of not paying attention to the bottom line. It's paying attention to a good experience and good outcomes.
And for me, all the ones that we work with and all the ones that we kind of chat with on a regular basis, everyone came into this to be a great therapist, but also create a great therapy business for the customer. You know, everyone's patient focused, which we wouldn't work with anyone that wasn't that, you know, because that doesn't sit along our ethics of people we work with. So for me, and, you know, the final point would be that if you genuinely, really, really, really want to improve the services that you're offering to your clients and customers, if that is that you want to buy a shockwave because you see a lot of tendon problems and you want to help them with that. If you want to buy some strength and conditioning equipment because you recognize that you haven't got that facility and your clients could benefit from it and long term, then you need to make money in an organization to go and buy better stuff. So I think for me, around selling is, to kind of conclude is, one, I think we're already doing it anyway. And I think you were great in what you were saying in the sense of, it's understanding more of what we do so you can do it better, or you can understand that actually how you can refine that and to improve your whole customer experience in total, which is the thing that you sell, but actually improving your customer experience will then improve the profitability. So you can reinvest back into your business or employ more people in your business so you can help even more people. And I think that should be the whole circle of life.
Absolutely. So there we go, Andy. A quick canter through sales and marketing, an essential stage of our transformation program for therapy businesses. And delighted that we're going to be running webinar 2, a free webinar on the 29th of September at 7 p.m. It will be recorded, so you'll be able to, if you register for it, you'll be able to watch it offline if you can't actually get to listen to Richard and his colleagues at Sales Geek live. So just a quick plug finally, I guess, to remind everybody, Therapy Live Business on the 18th of September. If you're not booked on, get yourself booked on. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
And that's us done for this time, I think. Until next time, Andy.
Thank you very much, Phil. Speak to you soon.
Take care.